Welcome to Joe's Astrology. This is the birth chart analysis for Jennifer Aniston. She's an actress. She is a Libra rising, moon in Sagittarius, and sun in Aquarius. I'm gonna do things a little bit differently for this one. I'm gonna go through her Wikipedia page. I'm gonna kind of go a little slower too, just looking at some of her history and correlating that to the birth chart. So we see here she was born February 11th, 1969. She's an actress, and she gained fame. She rose to international fame for her role on the television sitcom Friends in 1994 to 2004. So let's start with that. She was an actress. So I'm going to look in the chart and see where we can see actress. So for her, it's a little bit harder to find. We see the fifth house in this chart. The fifth house, the Leo house, the house of self-expression. We could say acting, uh, creativity would be here is Pisces. She has Pisces. And Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune and Pisces is also known as a sign and planet that represents acting, being on stage, plays, theater, and Venus, of course, is exalted in Pisces. So she does have on that fifth house cusp the sign Pisces, and as I said, Venus is exalted in Pisces, and Venus is here in her house of work, the sixth house. She has Venus in her house of work, and it's conjunct the North Node. So she's living a fruition type life with the Venus conjunct the North Node. So fruition in the sense of her acting ability would be coming to fruition in this life with Venus there uh, on the North Node in the house of work, and it's also conjunct Saturn. Saturn being the career, the work. And then we can look here at Neptune itself, and she does have a conjunction with Neptune and Mars in the second house of values, the second house of money, self-worth. And where is she gaining her self-worth from? Where is she gaining her money from? It's from acting, Neptune. Now, of course, there's much more that can be said about a lot of things I'm going to say here. This is very surface level to begin with, and we'll see how it goes as this goes along. She also has Neptune in a square to the Sun. So we look at the aspects to Neptune. There's a square to the Sun. There's a pretty close semi-sextile to the Moon. There's a sextile, 60 degree, almost exactly to Mercury. And she also has almost a close sextile to Uranus. And of course, the house of career, the 10th house, the MC, it's in an almost exact trine. It's pretty much within a degree of the house of career. They're on the sign of Cancer. And we can also look at that MC as being in the third decan of Cancer, which is the Pisces decan. So it comes back to that Pisces, that sign of Pisces, the career. And if we want to look a little bit further, we could also say that her rising is ruled by Venus, that planet that is exalted in Pisces. Now her the show that she got famous with, Friends. Friends. That's the title. And it was a show about friends. And what do we see here? She is a sun in Aquarius and a Mercury moving into Aquarius at 0 degrees. And Aquarius is the sign of friends. And she also has the Pluto in this chart is in the 11th house, the house of friends, the Aquarius house, Pluto, where she's coming from, the deepest, the soul, the deepest part of the chart. At a soul level, she is going to have these Aquarius traits at a very deep level. She's going to be attached to her friends. She's going to really value her friends. And we see, coincidentally, she starred in her first role in a show called Friends. Okay, we see here that she is one of the highest paid actresses, consistently ranked among the highest paid actresses as of 2023 since her career started in the 1990s. Well, she has the planet of money, Venus, in the house of work, as I mentioned before, conjunct the North Node. Fruition, money. Fruition, making money in a fruition state in this life. Things coming to a head. On her second house cusp, she has Scorpio, one of the signs of money. It's ruled by Mars and Pluto. And what does she have there on the second house cusp? The ruler of Scorpio, Mars. And it's in an almost exact sextile to the co-ruler, Pluto. So we could also say Pluto in the 11th house is representative of fame. It's making a sextile, an opportunity that her Mars, her drive, her energy, what she's really pushing towards in this life. And it's in that second house of money, fame and money. And of course, it comes back to that square that we always look. There's always repeating themes in the chart, or usually. There's a square to the sun in the 4th, which we probably will come back to here. Mars, if you look at a lot of people who have a lot of money, billionaires, millionaires, they usually have a strong Mars. And she has Mars in the ruling sign of Scorpio. Again, it's in that second house of money and values. What does she value? There's that Mars in the second house. And of course, the ruler of her chart is Venus. Libra, the sign, the rising sign. And that Venus in the 6th is opposite Jupiter. One of the most fortunate aspects in astrology, she has Jupiter opposite Venus. And where's Jupiter? It's with Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius. It's in the 12th house. So back to this idea of the 12th house and Pisces being acting. And we see Jupiter there, the fortunate planet with Uranus, opposite the Venus in the 6th. So the work in the 6th, the dreams, the acting in the 12th. We see that access in the North Node as well, and the South Node as well there in Libra, where she's coming from. There in the 12th. And this is going to get interesting. As I do this is going to get very interesting as we go along here through her history. Now, when Pluto, it says here early life that she was born to an actor. She's born into a family of actors and actresses. And we see there Pluto, she's born, and Pluto transits that Uranus, transits that Jupiter. You could say this. This is where her family would have been teaching her. She would have learned from her family here, Jupiter. There's probably more to be said about that transit. And then when Pluto transits her, uh, ascendant, as it goes through the first house, she starts working as an actress. That's when she starts working on Friends. And then it says her parents divorced when she was 9. If we look here at when she was 9 years old, the north node is in Libra at 10 degrees and the south node is at 10 degrees. The south node was crossing over her Venus when her parents divorced. The south node, Pluto, Saturn, Mars, these transits can bring what people perceive as unfortunate happenings in their life. So as I said, it says here she comes from a family of actors and actresses. Foreigners. Her family moved to New York City when she was a child. They're from Greece. I'm sorry. She was born to a Greek-born actor, John Aniston, and actress Nancy Dow. Her ancestry includes English, Irish, Scottish, and a small amount of Greek. Her father's ancestry is from the Greek island of Crete. And the reason why I mentioned that we're going to come back to that is Jupiter, Uranus in the 12th, and Neptune. These aspects and planets often correlate with foreigners. We can see her background, the south node in the 12th. You could say pretty literally that she was born into a family, south node, of foreign actors and actresses. Uranus, Jupiter, in the 12th house. She first worked in Broadway productions as For Dear Life and Dancing on Checkers' Grave, and supported herself with part-time jobs, including work as a telemarketer, waitress, and bike messenger. Now, telemarketer. Her Mercury is in a very strong place in the 4th. The 1st, the 4th, the 7th, and the 10th, the angles. I don't know that I would consider the 4th the strongest place for Mercury, but it still is emphasizing Mercury here. And of course, it's in Aquarius where it's exalted. And as I said, it's making a sextile to Neptune. It's in an exact sextile to the north node and trine to the south node. It's making a trine to Uranus, the higher octave of Mercury, also the ruler of Aquarius. And we can include Jupiter there as well. And the reason I mention that is because these jobs, telemarketer, waitress, bike messenger, Mercury is the messenger, Mercury is the communicator, the marketer, the telephone lover, and the waitress. The waitress is often a very mercurial person that needs to get around. I remember working in restaurants and hearing the waitresses talk about how they could never work at a sit-down job. By the way, this is a very talented chart, which I can get into as well. But you can see I would consider this a person who has a lot of talents. Now, she did do a horror film, and of course, we have this Mars in Scorpio. Mars and Neptune in Scorpio. And I already mentioned the Pluto Mars. Pluto Saturn aspect in conjunct.